droids, no bounty hunters, no Raylos, no Ray Nobodies. Lots of good stuff today. That episode 4 was fantastic. I am very impressed with it. Okay, I can't say enough. I want to talk a little bit about the title. In fact, 1 second, I'll be back. 1 second, stay. Oh, go check it out. Get away! Go on. I'm coming back. Okay, I'm coming back. Okay. So, you guys are all waiting for me to come back. I want to talk about the title. Good afternoon, everybody. Hello, Dave. Hello, Trayla. Hello, Zelfred. I don't think I've seen you. If you're a new subscriber here, thanks for stopping by. Glad to have you. And you don't have to spend any money on me. Okay? You know, I could put my PayPal tip jar up, but I'm not going to do that either. I tried that before and it kind of went over everybody's heads. So anyway, and it doesn't matter. I don't need the money. I want to talk about the title. The Gathering Storm is a direct link, and it's an inspiration to another something else called The Gathering Storm. After World War II, Winston Churchill wrote a 6-volume history of World War II. And if you know anything about Churchill, you know that he was basically, to put it bluntly, the prophet when it came to the Germans in World War II and what they were doing. And he called that time the wilderness, kind of like when Christ was in the wilderness for 40 days, or a voice cries out in the wilderness, St. John the Baptist. Anyway, the first book in that series is this, The Gathering Storm. And it highlights the rise of the Nazi Party and German aggression in Europe before the invasion of Poland, which kicked off World War II in Europe. I happen to believe that World War II in Asia was being fought already, with Korea being invaded by the Japanese and China being invaded by the Japanese. But we're not talking about that. So this is a direct inspiration from Churchill's volumes about World War II. And it says something about Jon Favreau, that he's a stranger in a strange land is biblical. The streets of Mos Espa is the streets of Laredo. And I can't remember the second episode. Oh, the tribes of Tatooine. Another, link to the Western. This is a spoiler rant, spoiler. So if you haven't seen it, this is where you need to go if you don't want spoilers. I myself don't mind spoilers, because when I know something is going to happen, I'm probably more likely to watch or not. Okay, I don't like being surprised. And it opens up where FETT leaves what was left of the encampment. He discovers Fennec Shand. Now, let me tell you something. This shows that he was with the Tuscans for a long time, okay? Because it goes right up to after The Mandalorian, season 2, okay? And that this is the same time period, but not, but it goes, it's in the past, then it goes into where we are today. So, anyway, he finds Fennec Shand and gets her help. He then goes to get his ship. Now, he calls it My Fire Spray. That is not the name of the ship. That is the model of the ship. So people freaking out that they renamed it the Fire Spray. No, they didn't. If he called it the Fire Spray, then it would have been a renaming of the ship. It's just a little bit of messing around with the words. It is still Slave One in the reference books that are coming out now. So he calls the ship, he says, My Fire Spray. It's like Han Solo saying, My YT 19 or 13 or what 1300. Okay, it's the same reference. So they go and get it, and then Boba Fett proceeds to blow away the biker gang that killed his village, and it was glorious to be seen because they could not get out of the way of that he was launching all kinds of shit at them, and he just blew those motherfuckers apart. Then he goes to the Sarlacc pit because he still believes that his armor is there. He didn't remember that the Jawas took it. Okay, so he may still have to figure out how he figured out that happened. And instead of finding, he basically tries to go into the pit to see where it is, so he can get it out. And the thing starts coming up at him. So they're in trouble. It's got its tentacles around him, around the Slave One, and he is shooting at it, trying to get it to let go. Fennec Shand finally drops one of those sonic, I can't remember what they call them, bombs that he carries on the Slave One, and he killed it. The Sarlacc, the pit of Carcoon, is no more. It's gone. It's dead. He killed it. Oh, yeah, he was going to have to. I mean, that's outstanding business. I mean, that really was. And they got everything they deserved. Okay? So anyway, seismic charge. So he dropped it in there. Or Fennec Shand actually was the one that did it. And what I loved about it is how scared she was. Yeah, they did. It was real. I mean, she's up against glass looking at the jaws coming at her, and she's like, oh, fuck. I mean, she was scared. I thought that was good acting by Min-Na Wing. So we get out of that. Sarlacc is dead. He goes down to the Sarlacc to look at it. Look for the armor. It's not there. And he keeps saying, I know it's down there. And she's like, no, it's not. You gotta let it go. It served its purpose. You need a Bacta tank. See? And she said exactly what I saw coming. You need a Bacta tank. That's why the Bacta tank. Okay? And then we get into the present. He's in the Bacta tank, and the Bacta tank says, you are healed now. And it's the conversations that they have about, she gets a shot of whatever she wants, Dave. The cool thing about their conversations was they're talking about crappy leadership. He explains why he's not a hunter anymore. And she said, no, we're just talking about episode 4, and it's spoiler free, or it's spoiler filled. And that she says basically to him, our lives, we never escape what we do. This is what we do. We can't run from it. He has a different take. He basically, being with the Sand people and his experience in the Sarlacc changed him. And it's all very interesting to me how the conversation was interesting because you could, everything that you're watching about with this whole show is allegory for Kennedy. Okay? It is allegory for Kennedy. And it's very interesting how Fennec Shand and Boba are talking about leadership, and it could be Favreau and Filoni talking about the poor leadership at Lucasfilm. Okay? And it's getting better. Okay, so we get to he goes in at Mos Espa. I can't remember the reason why. He was going to show his face, so he walks into the sanctuary right as Black Chrysanthemum, that huge black Wookiee, is beating the living out of a bunch of Trandoshans. Madame Garza, Jennifer Beal, who looks absolutely stunning as a Twi'lek. I mean, it looks fantastic in her costume. Is basically trying to talk Chrysanthemum off the ledge by reminding him, oh, what a great, powerful gladiator you were. You were a champion. No one could stand up to you, blah, blah, blah. But that was in the past. And he's kind of thinking about it. And you think maybe he's going to drop the poor Trandoshan who's like, please let me go. The expressions on the Trandoshans' faces they look real to me. It's like looking at a lizard, okay? It freaking out, by the way. And instead of doing what Garza wanted him, rips the arm off the Trandoshan, gives her money, and leaves. And Boba Fett witnesses the whole thing. Walks over to him when he's out the door and says, I want you to come to work for me. So we have a sit down, a mafia sit down. This is what it is. Right out of The Godfather. You know, I could see Michael Franzese watching this and going, yeah, this is what we did. And hey, Krypton. Yeah, it's writing 101. It's where I thought I would take it, where they would take it. Thank you though for that. And he basically says, you know, the Pikes are taking over Mos Espa. You guys want to make money. I want you to make money. We can have a mutually beneficial existence. It is it really is similar. And you've got the Aqualesh and the Trandoshans basically, and that other guy. I think he was Clatonian too, but he wasn't part of that gang that beat up Fixer and Cammy and killed the village. They basically said, what we're going to do is we're going to stay out of your way. And we'll remain neutral. They leave. And Boba and Shand are watching them leave. And she says, we're going to need muscle. And he says, I've got the credits to pay for it. And all of a sudden you hear, do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do. Guess who's coming? Mando. Mando's on his way. I know it. They're going to call on him. They're going to call on some other people. And we might even see a bunch more Mandalorians show up. And if that's the case, this is going to be a fun time. So, like I said, the show Like even last week was allegory. And the week before was allegory. I want to talk a little bit about Jon Favreau. Put a 1 in the chat if you've seen the movie Chef. So I'm going to spoil it for you. It is about a well-known chef in Los Angeles who's working for a restaurateur who doesn't want him to change the menu. They've got a credit coming, and he wants to give the guy something special. This is fine dining at its peak. And oh, I know, that's the thing. That's the thing. So it's fine dining at its peak, and it's a very popular restaurant. But Chef feels Carl Casper, aka Jon Favreau, playing the role, he wrote it and directed it, feels like they're in a rut. He wants to do something different off menu, and the restaurateur, played by Dustin Hoffman, won't let him. By the time it's over for that part of the show, Favreau basically tells the restaurateur to go fuck himself and leaves. Okay? He quits. This reviewer comes in and they give not good. It's just, if anything, it doesn't look appetizing. It's not up to snuff. And the critic, and remember those who can't criticize, okay, wastes him. He's tweeting as he's eating, just blowing Casper away. Casper has just joined Twitter. So I was looking at this and he's getting mad. And while he's at home, he made this magnificent, bountiful meal. And I'm like, can I come and eat? I mean, it's gorgeous. There's everything you can imagine that someone that talented would make. And he goes back to the restaurant and screams at this guy. He loses his job. Oh, I am too, Jay. How you doing, man? So he goes to Miami with his ex-wife. And what's interesting is you've got Scarlett Johansson in the movie. You've got Robert Downey Jr. You've got Oliver Platt. You got Sofia Vergara. John Leguizamo. I don't like him. He's a jackass. Very sundry. I mean, this is a good cast. Okay, so Jon Favreau is Carl Casper. He gets a food truck, and they're making Cuban sandwiches as they go from Miami, Florida, up the Isthmus of Florida, and then across the southern route of the United States, which is basically, I think they're following the same route we took when we went from Tampa to San Diego County back in 2009. And they're exploring the food as they go. And at the end of it, everything, I mean, he's remarries his ex-wife, the family, he gets his family back together again, and he's got his own restaurant now. And the critic, played by Oliver Platt, that caused all the trouble, is backing him. Okay? They have an adult conversation. All right? This is allegory to the stuff Jon Favreau went through when he was making Iron Man 2. It was not up to snuff. The critics were pissed off about it. They gave it mixed reviews. And the reason why it wasn't up to snuff is because people like Kevin Feige, Ike Perlmutter, and probably Bob Iger stuck their goddamn noses where they didn't belong. All right? Nobody in a suit should be in the writing room. They're not creative. Get the hell out of here. Okay? If you're George Lucas and can do both, fine. But that is a rare bird. Just like it is a rare bird to find a director who can write. Okay? All right? That's why Cameron Pasha goes off. You know, that's why, I don't know, John. That's why he goes off about directors thinking they can write. It's the very rare bird that can do that. So, what I think, what we're looking at when we've got episode 1 where you see the Clitonians at what could be the Lars homestead, painting double K's and Huttese on the homestead walls. That's a direct middle finger to Kathleen Kennedy. Okay, you see another K when Boba Fett goes back and finds his Tusken Raider village destroyed. It is very interesting to me that I see so much allegory and so much subversive fuck you to her through this whole show. And it goes right over the heads of the black pills. It really, really does. Jon Favreau understands the way Hollywood works. Okay, he has gone toe to toe with people like Kathleen Kennedy. He has won. Let me explain. Iron Man 3 went to Shane Black to direct, and Favreau wanted to direct that, but he didn't. He also wanted to direct the Avengers, and they picked what's his face? Joss, what's his name? And he directed Cowboys and Aliens, a very watchable show. And then he directed Chef, which is a fuck you to all those people. Okay? Now, there's a rumor out there that Chapek wants him to come and help with both Star Wars and Marvel. Okay? And it doesn't surprise me, but I do think that he's been offered the head of leadership of Lucasfilm. I think that with Joss Whedon, that's it. I don't understand why I don't remember those names, especially since he's been such a high-profile character lately. It's really interesting how subversive this show is. And the fact that we don't see anything pointing to the sequel trilogy. We haven't gotten anywhere near that yet. There's no sign of the Imperial Remnant. There's no sign of the Alliance. Okay? There's no anything. Okay, the classic Star Wars characters are I don't know. That might be an interesting thing, but I think the Niktos did it. I think they did it. I think they did. And they deserve to be wiped out just because they were causing too much trouble for people. And yeah, it could be. I mean, that actually is very interesting. If that's the case, then a guy who used to work very closely with Darth Vader is now a mortal enemy of the Empire, which would be interesting. But I think Chapter 5 is going to be really good. I really do. We just got to see. Then we have 3 more left. I want more. So anyway, so we've got a very subversive show. And I want to talk a little bit about the black pills. There are people out there that are celebrating it lost half its audience. And I'm talking to the big channels that put it out there that they walked out of TLJ liking it and then came back and realized that everybody hated it, so then they hated it too. Talk about people like that. Talk about people that ran comic book stores thinking they could do a better job than professional filmmakers. and their little minions. Okay. There's a whole cabal of people who haven't seen it, who hate it. First off, if you're not well tuned to Star Wars, if you don't know the lore, and also I'm going to add, to the black pills who are EU fans to the point of it is literally an infallible series of books, like Catholic dogma, okay, like the 5 pillars of Islam, or Jewish law. Okay, you cannot go against this. If you haven't seen it, what TLJ trailer? I don't know what the actual hell you're talking about. I didn't see any TLJ trailer. Okay, let's keep with what I'm talking about. Topic, please. If you're making money on something you haven't seen and you hate it, if you're making money on riling people up over a woman who is gone from Star Wars, she's not coming back. Her character really didn't do that much for the story. She could be recast, and it wouldn't bother me, but I know you people would have a shit fit. Shut up, okay? Unless you've seen it, episode 1 through 4, shut the fuck up, okay? And for you EU purists, you weren't infallible, okay? The EU wasn't nearly as bad as this convoluted bullshit that Pablo Hidalgo and the shitty story group has come up with, okay? But there was enough problems with it that you cannot follow it perfectly. You can't. The stuff that you follow is probably Heir to the Empire, maybe Dark Empire, oh, I think Troy's right on that one too, I think. And maybe the Jedi Academy, okay? But if you haven't seen it, and all you can do is talk about the past instead of thinking how good Star Wars could be and how good it's getting, and you sit there and poo-poo Doomcock saying that Kennedy doesn't have any power, and I've heard it on good authority that there is a YouTuber bad-mouthing my good friend Cameron. This person has never worked in Hollywood. He is nothing but an acolyte of a bigger YouTuber, and he has a hot head. He needs to shut up, okay? That pisses me off. You gotta know how to read a fucking story, first off. Atlantic comes out, basically says Kathleen Kennedy no longer runs Star Wars, the franchise. Jon Favreau is, okay? Hey, Phantom Musk. All right, we will. And you look at it and you don't understand that basically that story is saying this is what's going on now. And you ignore Cameron. I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. This week, we found out that in January of 2020 or 2021, Andy Gutierrez, Miss Fanboy Tears Mug, Miss Luke with the red X across his face, leaves Lucasfilm. She's working for somebody else, and I just discovered it. Because I'm like, where the hell is she? So I went and looked, and she's gone. She lists on her employment sheet that she present for Lucasfilm. But then the only employment that she's got is with another PR firm. That's it. She's gone. Did she see the tea leaves and left and leave? Or did Disney, upon assuming more control over Lucasfilm to get it right, tell her, you are so bad at PR. You don't know what you're doing. Getting a picture of you with Fanboy Tears mug, putting it online. In 2015, when the shit with Pablo Hidalgo and others at Lucasfilm who are attacking the fans, Bob Chapek, going against the customers, going against the company when you do that, looked really bad. And she's PR, she should know that. She should know that. Everything is branding, narrative. What does it look like? What is the appearance? Okay. Then she's so witless that she doesn't tell the asshole in the cubicle, get that picture of Luke off the front. If I come back down this hall walking backwards with the camera in front of me, and that picks it up, oh, thanks. Yeah, I think that was him, Troy. I really do. I think that was him. Because the moment I said, hi, Pablo, he blocked me and went away. He blocked me and went away. They're terrified of us. They're terrified of us because Disney's listening, okay? There's probably somebody from Disney here listening right now, so wave. Hi, whoever you are. She should have told that guy to get that picture off there. She did not. Again, lack of awareness. Lack of where you are in the space of the area you're in. Lack of what's around you. Okay, that looks bad. There's a Fanboy Tears cup above me on my shelf. I should take that down. Why? Because the fans see it and pick up on it. And it feeds into they hate us. That narrative. That, by the way, their behavior showed that they hated us. Okay? Now, I don't know if Kathleen Kennedy hates us because she's never said so. But letting Pablo and company do whatever the hell they wanted since October 2012 is pretty convincing. Okay? Not have to say anything. All I gotta do is just let the monkeys loose. The flying monkeys, as Cameron likes to call them. But I have to say this. If we woke up tomorrow morning and Bob Chapek announced that there were big changes at Lucasfilm and several people were leaving, and Pablo and a few, some others, and the story group was being melted into something else, that the remnants of it. Leland Chi is a great guy. I like him. I've had conversations with him. Really, here's a question on redundancy. If I am auditing a workplace and I find Pablo, and I've already talked to Leland, and Leland basically does the same job he does, and you look at Pablo's behavior, you look at what he's done online, you've gone and found public tweets that he's made. You've seen him make obnoxious statements about fans, calling YouTubers wood ticks. Sorry, that doesn't fit me because I don't get paid for this. So fuck off, Pablo. And then of course what he said about Star Wars theory, which incidentally, and Troy, who's here, will vouch for this. Yesterday, I asked out loud why he was still there. And I mentioned Star Wars theory. Somebody with no posts, no followers, no followees on Insta came back and basically said he was really defending Star Wars theory. What? Really defending Star Wars theory. Okay. I don't know how you defend Star Wars theory with emotions are not for sharing. Because that literally cannot be construed as anything but an attack on Star Wars theories, reaction to Luke returning. Okay? That literally cannot be taken as anything else. The idea that I would actually, because, well, according to lefties and losers like Pablo, people like me are stupid, that was really, defending. No, it wasn't. I want to ask you guys a question. Did you take that as defending Star Wars theory? Because I sure as hell didn't. Nobody else did. That he had to go turn around and apologize. And this is my opinion. If he came back to Star Wars theory and said, well, Troy, he left. He blocked me and left. Okay? When I called him out as Pablo, he was gone. So I know it was him. I've had run-ins with similar people that I'm pretty sure were him. He was at Lucasfilm as a techie. All right. I can imagine Pablo's apology being the exact same thing that person said to me. That apology going to Star Wars theory, and Star Wars theory going in the nice way that he always does. Fuck you. Okay? Everybody knew it was bullshit. Everybody knew that was bullshit. So, if Bob Chapek announced that those guys were leaving and that there were major personnel changes going on, the big channels, the wagging beard, non-high school education, and the hot-headed what would they have to talk about? You took away part of their narrative. It's gone. When Kennedy is officially gone, and I think she already is, I don't think she's running Lucasfilm. I really don't. Doomcock and WDW Pros keep calling her executive producer. She is not in England at all. Neither is her husband, from what I can tell. They're not on the set of Indy 5. All right? So don't tell me there's nothing wrong at Lucasfilm. Okay? I am not stupid. You're stupid, but I'm not. Okay? My instincts, my political instincts tell me that the Indy 5 rumors that Doomcock dropped, that, oh, by the way, verbatim dropped onto Daily Mail, were the thing that made Chapek go, you gotta leave. We have to do reshoots. You gotta go. You can't do this anymore. And I think, because I think he did this because he's not stupid, I've said this before, Harrison Ford realized that they were going to Han Solo Indy. And I'm going to say this too. When he realized at the end of the day, not only what they did to Han, but what they did to Luke and Leia, that pissed him off. Okay? That made him mad. I mean, he said himself, you got to give the customers what they want. Okay? He said that. They didn't hire the guy he wanted to play Han Solo, Anthony Ingruber. Now there are rumors that he is actually in some capacity in Indy 5, which, God, because I really like him. He's a great guy. He's just, Anthony is a lovely soul, okay? He deserved the chance to play Han Solo, not the giant-headed, balding, overgrown munchkin like awful Aaron Yuck. You know what I call him, the discount hobbit? Yeah, that's what he is. I mean, he's just, all that stuff says Kennedy's no longer part of it. And what I think happened is Ford, when he got hurt, we saw pictures of him walking around with his right arm in a sling, your left arm in a sling. Then we see him riding around Mayfair or those cobblestone streets on his bike like nothing happened. I call it slow rolling, which is exactly what I think happened. I think he slow rolled it, delayed production, knew it would cost a lot of money. Then suddenly the rumor comes out in legit news. Okay. He was the one that did that. He went to Chapek and said, this has got to stop. And Chapek probably already saw what was going on. That thing came out, and Chapek said, because literally that story came out, Indy 5's release date went from next summer to the summer after. Okay? There you go. Right? And Kennedy is nowhere to be seen. She wasn't in Sicily. She wasn't in Morocco. Nowhere to be seen. Nowhere. And she's not hands-on on the set at Pinewood Studios now. You guys do the math on that one. All of her stuff has been canceled or delayed. I just looked up IMDb Pro for Leslie Headland, and they literally took the actress off that they had been talking about on Variety. She's no longer on that on the list. But there's some other woman, some writer. Meanwhile, if you look at Headland, she's got 3 other things on top of it that look like they're going ahead. Acolyte's not being made either, okay? And The Children of Blood and Snot has gone to Paramount. How the hell did that happen? That was Kennedy's pet project. She wanted that. Chapek said, we're dropping it. They dropped it, okay? Because they didn't mention a fight, a bidding war going on. They mentioned it, didn't say who was in that bidding war to the bottom. Nothing about Disney. Nothing. Okay? Nothing. Now, it could have reached the end of its option, but I don't think so. Because Kennedy is nowhere to be seen. And yet, here we are, still talking about her. Think about it. If they came out and said she's resigning in a year and put it out there, like my former boss, he made a speech about that. I think so too, John. He made a speech about it, leaving. Yeah, and it was gone less than 48 hours after Chapek's memo. I think that we'll hear something sooner rather than later. I don't think that they can go on like this. All right? But it's very interesting to me. And if he made that public, it would literally take the black pills out of the game, because they have made money, gotten subscribers, and put everybody, the fandom literally, at the mercy of their monetization and need for followers. Be over. You take away the shiny object. Now we get to talk Star Wars again. Now we get to talk about what all this stuff means. Meanwhile, we've got black pills like a certain fishy TV talking about, Boba Fett lost half its audience because of people like you. And it's because of people like them. They form a narrative, and too many people tune into that rather than going, I want to watch it and see it on my own terms, which is where we all should be. But if Disney basically made a lot of this stuff public, they would kill a lot of that if they made a statement about Gina Carano that she would have to respond to. And that watching because of Gina, that would end too. Okay? Personally, as much as I like her, I don't care anymore. In fact, there are times I'm so sick of hearing about her that I feel a dislike welling up. First off, she's not that great of an actress. She's really not that pretty. Let it go. I mean, just let her go. I have friends who are in that TV show or that movie that they made. She made a big mistake going to Ben Shapiro. But that happened so fast, I think they were already talking. And I think that she already knew she was out. She didn't tell anybody. All right, she should have said something. And I'll tell you something. If she had said something publicly about it, she'd be back with Star Wars. All right, she should have. She didn't. And I think she didn't want to be there in the first place. And it's not. Well, you gotta look at it and think, okay, we need some intellectual thought behind it. Oh, I think it would be. Not that she would come back. Hey, Mattuine. But as far as like all that goes, I'm literally like, I don't care anymore. In fact, that was it, Joanna. Oh, the girl that played the female Tusken. Joanna Bennett, I think her name is. She could play Cara Dune. There's really not much to it. It's not like she's playing Lady Macbeth or, Golda Meir or, Miranda Priestley, She could play that role. I mean, but again, and I think Favreau and Filoni know this, if they recast Cara Dune, the fanboys would shit themselves. And we don't want that either. So they're between a rock and a hard place with that. And I think that they should do Rangers of the New Republic, but come up with a whole new character. Not her. Okay? Just let it go. What is past is in the past. Let it die there. Okay? And you guys know my feelings about how she behaved. She wasn't in the position to go on Twitter to say what she wanted. Oh, I think so too. I think she did a great job as that Tusken. In fact, when she pops up in the train like this and then disappears, that was awesome. I mean, that was really awesome. But, it's time, I think, for Disney to take away a lot of narratives from the Black Pills. They'll still have stuff to talk about, but I think they should talk about what they know. And not just, everybody gets together on Friday afternoons and does a circle jerk, okay? That's what that is. It's a jackass circle jerk, okay? And I won't have anything to do with it. I mean, if you walk up to a Star Wars fan, they don't like the show. And you basically say a lot of the stuff is found in the EU, what Boba Fett went through. Okay? And they're bringing a lot of stuff of the EU back into canon. And they say, well, I don't have time to watch the EU or read the EU. And then you say, well, there are plenty of videos explaining this stuff on YouTube, 10-minute videos. And they go, well, I just don't care. It's like, so you're not a Star Wars fan then, right? I mean, what are you going to do? Look, you have to know some of the backstory. Favreau, I think, is depending too much on a bunch of illiterate people. Not to say they can't read. They don't have they they don't have the time to read it. They don't have the time to watch a video. Look, there's a whole bunch of things within the lore, within the Star Wars universe, that is so interesting to me, okay, about the Force. And then they talk about the Force, it's like, really? That's what you think? Okay. Not based on anything, of course. They talk about what they think Boba Fett is. Let me explain Boba Fett. Boba Fett in Return of the Jedi never said anything. He was getting his ass kicked by a Jedi, and a blind guy with the gaffy stick broke his jetpack, sent him careening into a sail barge and into the Sarlacc. That's Boba Fett. He never did anything that was that impressive in the OT. Followed Han to Bespin. Waited for Vader to show up. Wow. And then instead of capturing Solo himself, Vader gave him to him. Wow. Okay. There's a lot of imagination going on within a group. I don't care what your friend said. I don't care. I don't want to hear about it. There's a lot of EU stuff in this, like the fact he needs a Bacta tank. Okay? The fact that, Black or Sand, for crying out loud, has been a denizen of legends for decades. Okay? What are you going to do about it? I'm sick of hearing about it. Okay? I want a world with good Star Wars, and we've got it now. There are people out there watching all this and wanting to see the world burn. Okay? They don't care. A lot of people, I think, feel like they've been shut out. Okay? A lot of people feel like they aren't being heard. And a lot of people are, and more of them, are there for the money. As long as bad stuff keeps showing up, or in their perception, bad stuff, the AdSense money and the super chats will keep coming in. Just Nova, just please be quiet and don't. I'm gonna say this: you following me and starting a fight in another chat really pissed me off. That was a low thing to do. Okay, so don't do it again. Okay, that was a bullshit move. Okay, if you want to go and watch whatever and go over there and be a black pill, fine. Okay? All right? I am here for people who love Star Wars, who don't want to hear the negative shit. That isn't true, by the way. Okay? If you don't like it, cool. Plenty of other places to go. Okay? Again, I don't care. I don't get paid for this. I don't want to be paid for this. Okay? Not why I'm here. Okay? Just Nova, this close. This close. Okay? This close. Don't start shit with me anymore. Don't. And don't sit there and act like you make excuses. Okay? All right? I'm sick of bullshit. All right? I said this close, shut your mouth right now. Okay? Shut your mouth. Don't say another word. Okay? There are plenty of places to go, so go there. Okay? I'm not here to, I don't care about any of that shit. Okay? There is EU stuff in there. I don't care what people have said to other people. They're talking to people likely who aren't familiar with the EU. So how would you know? Okay? All right? How would you know if you've never read it? Okay? All right? I mean, we may find out Boba Fett has to go looking for a doctor later to help him, which is what he did in the EU. I want you guys to pay very close attention. Every time he runs into an issue with somebody, he says, no hard feelings. It's business. That's going to come up. And it's going to come up to someone. And your mouth is going to drop open when you see who it is. Okay? All right? This show losing half its audience is nothing to celebrate. Okay? It's a testimony to too many people who are in the business of hating everything, fashioning a narrative that is a lie and based on nothing. They haven't again, just know that there is EU in it. I don't give a flying fuck what your friend said. He hasn't seen it either. Okay? Please stop. I've told you to. Anyway, my God, in what language can I explain this? Do you need me to do it in crayon? Hold up a sign in German? Yeah, it's editing, I think, and there have been there's some great stuff in this show, like that. No hard feelings, mate. It's all just business. That really is going to come back. Okay, that's going to come back. And this whole show is nothing but subversive. Fuck you to the Story Group and fuck you to Kennedy. Okay, and that double K on the side of that building, you'd have to be a moron not to think that was a middle finger to her. Okay? You have to be a moron. Okay? Now, Pablo is out running around posting this stuff on and sharing it. But he doesn't follow Favreau. He doesn't follow Filoni anywhere. He doesn't follow Star Wars. He doesn't follow Lucasfilm anywhere. He doesn't follow Marvel or Disney. Why? Time's up. And he knows it. And look, it is, we can already see the people who are holding Star Wars back. Okay? And it's Story Group, except for Lee Lin Chi. I keep him. But it's very interesting to see the people who are holding it back are now being put in a place. I think we are going to see Bosk. Oh no, he didn't, because he knew they were the ones that killed everybody in that village. I think we are going to see Bosk, and I think we are going to see Cad Bane. Now you got to remember, we didn't see anything with the twins, okay? And they're still in play here. There's still a war between, we've got, what we know is that the Pikes and Boba, and whoever Boba could buster, and at the end of that episode we hear do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do. So we know that Din Djarin is going to show up, and he might bring a posse with him. So we know they're coming. I think Cad Bane, well, I think if you see those two show up, they're going to show up to try to kill Boba. And I think they're going to be brought in to, hi Kojak. They're going to be brought in to likely being hired by the Hutts. Okay, it's really interesting to me watching all this play out because, you know, you're told, well, it's really not EU because, you know, Vader killed all the Hutt clans except Jabba's. Well, Jabba's dead. Why did two Hutts show up? They were all related, by the way, in some way or not. The Hutt clans aren't gone. Okay. Nal Hutta is in the same quadrant as Tatooine. That's all Hutt space. Okay? There you go. All right? I'm like, I don't know what people want. It's gonna get better. I look at next week's episode. That'll be cool. That would be cool. And it'll be a repeat of the gunfight where Boba got that dent. You know? I was shocked that they actually showed a Wookiee tearing an arm off. I mean, how dare they? J.J. Abrams is going, we can't show Chewie doing that. Well, it'll, you know, first off, Mando sort of owes Boba, so he probably will show up, which means Brendan Wayne gets a chance to be in the show. I like him. John Wayne's grandson is under the suit for Mando through all the action sequences. That's John Wayne's grandson. I just want you guys to know that. Anyway, I had a lot of stuff to get off my chest about the black pills. There's nothing to cheer about this really great show losing half its audience. And I want to tell Disney, if you actually made a public, I don't know, I'd have to go check. I don't know who directed this episode, but it was a good one. I don't know who it was. But if Disney made a public announcement about wanting to hire Gina Carano back, it would shut the shit out of these people up. They would have to change their tone. All right? We're not here just because of Disney. We're here because of them too. All right? You know, if all you can do is bitch, and you have, oh, so she directed it? Okay, so she directed it, episode 4. Okay, good. If these people would shut up until the show was over. Okay, Matt Duane, you too. We would have a lot to talk about, but they won't. Again, it's money, it's power, and we've let them form a narrative. Disney, by being quiet and keeping everything like this, allowed them to form a narrative that's been harmful to everybody. to the franchise, to Disney, to the fans. It's time to take the narrative away. Anyway, I gotta go. I'm gonna lose my voice in about 5 minutes. So I will talk to you guys later. If anything happens today or more, ever. By the way, Latino Slant is gonna have Tom Conkle on today later at I think 10 or something or whatever. Okay, Kevin Trancherone. He's a good one. Okay. So if you're subscribed to Latino Slant, get ready because that's going to be a really good discussion. I'll see you guys around the galaxy.